Okay, Passerians, this video is going to talk a little bit about compound interest and how how interest rates aren't always annual. They're sometimes, they're sometimes like compounding, if you will, or building up over the month or the week or whatever else. So the formula for compound interest is as follows. Let me show you. Bear with me as I pull that up. A equals P to the 1 plus R over N to the NT or TN. I do TN usually, I guess, or NT. Let's just talk about it for a second. A is like the amount or the final amount, I guess you could say. So this is the total balance. Total balance or the final amount. AMT, I guess, for amount. Principal, which is also AKA the initial amount. Initial amount. And then we've got the rate, which is typically annual. It's normally an annual rate by default. Then we have N, which is the number of times compounded. Number of times compounded annually. Ideally annually. And this is just time, I suppose, in years in many situations. So let's kind of just break it down. Here's what I'm seeing. My dad was an accountant, and he would kind of always talk about, he would ask about like an interest rate, and he's like, all right, let's take that rate and divide it by 365, and that gives you your daily interest rate. And so then he would take your daily interest rate and he would like compound it daily, essentially. So he'd take a rate and divide it by 365, 365 days in a year. He would take a rate and divide it by 12. It was like a monthly rate, right? So we're just going to divide by the number of compounds in the year. And that's basically what we're going to do. And then we're going to multiply by the number of compounds instead of like I don't know, 3 years. If it's quarterly, it's going to be 12 compounds, right? So orange is number of compounds total. Okay, if that's all right with you, I will split screen and go to some examples. Hopefully this is all right for you. Let's talk about Dave. He's investing in a car, or he's investing in an account that has a 5% interest rate. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's okay. That looks about right. Okay. Semi-annually, we're going to have this 5% interest rate. So let's just start it off. The amount of this is going to be $300, right? And now he's investing the money. So it's 1 plus something. Now it's a 5% interest rate. So let's think about this without the formula. Without the formula, we're going to assume this is annual. Okay, if they don't tell us, we're going to assume it's an annual rate. 5% annually, but it's going to be compounded semi-annually, okay? So instead, it's going to be 5 over 2. That's the percent, right? That's the R over N. It's going to be 2.5% 2 times per year, right? Now, sometimes this semi-annual or whatever, it gets confusing, all right? I only know semi-annual because, and this is maybe a little embarrassing, but you're probably familiar, many of the ladies, with Victoria's Secret's semi-annual sale. That is not every 2 years. That is twice a year, okay? And it's kind of a big deal. Being married, I have to know about this kind of thing. We can buy a bunch of things every 6 months. So there's a semi-annual sale. That means it's twice a year. So 2 times a year, we're going to have 2.5%, 1.025. That's 2.5%. And now it's going to be 15 years, but how many compounds is that going to be? It's going to be 30 half years, right? So we'll take that, we'll multiply it, 1.025 to the 30, and then multiply it over. It's going to be 62927. 62927. So the semi-annual and the biannual and the semi-monthly and the bi-monthly, that gets confusing to me, so I'll try to avoid that language for you as much as possible. But doesn't mean all the worksheets will do that, but on a quiz or a test. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I'll say twice yearly or something like that. Or, 3 times or something like that. Or I'll just stick with monthly and quarterly and daily. Okay, so that's that. So let's talk about monthly. A lot of stuff is staying the same. Let's talk about everything that's staying the same. A equals 300. Okay, the amount, and now it's monthly. So it's going to be what? It's going to be, if we think about it, it's going to be 15 times 12. That's going to be how many times it's going to compound. And it's going to be the rate. This is where maybe dividing it is going to make the most sense, right? So this blue thing, R over N. Well, the rate is 5%, right? 0.05. That's the rate. We're dividing that. It's monthly, so it's that over 12. You see? You want to be careful of rounding, so I'm just going to put 1 plus. Oh, darn it. I'm just going to put 1 plus that blue thing there. Let's make it bigger. So it's going to be 1 plus the blue thing, 0.05 over 12. Sometimes the formula really does come in clutch because you can't really figure out that rate very easily, right? But 5% cut in half, we can figure that out. And I like to logically put it together rather than use the formula when possible. Okay? So I just think about it. Usually it's an annual rate anyways, so you don't have to do this very often, but it's always helpful, Oftentimes I'll think about I'll read a stock market chart and it'll be like the growth over the last 10 years, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, but what was the growth? If it was 22% over the last 10 years, that's 2.2% a year in general. And there is something to that. There's a geometric progression versus a straight line, I guess. And we'll talk about that at some point, but let's just keep on going. So I think I'm going to skip over number 2 because it's very similar to number 1. Okay? You could try it if you like, but why don't we just try to see how quick we can move through this. So our boy, our girl, Amelia, she's turning 6. That's exciting. That's the same age as my daughter, Lucy. So hooray to Amelia, okay? It's going to be weird watching this video and she won't be 6 at some point, But this time, she's 6. I know, isn't that crazy? Life. So Amelia turned 6. Her grandparents opened a college savings account for her. So the amount in that account is 500 times something. So there's the amount that was in there. It's going to be 1 plus whatever. Sometimes I like to do that out. But because it's 3.2%, I would assume that when they say 3.2% interest, they mean that annually. Okay, so that rate is not the bi-monthly rate. You see what I'm saying? We have to assume the rates are annual unless they say something different, okay? I've had lenders call me and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is a factor loan. So what happens is you just pay back 1.1% of it, but it's due in 3 months or something." So I was like, okay, well, if you're wanting 1.1 is the factor, that's 10%, and you want that in 3 months. So basically, you want 40%, or no, you want 40% annual, correct? You want 10% in 3 months? That's what they said to me. I said, I'll talk to you later. I'm not interested in that. You try to tell me I just got to pay back 1.1 times what I borrow, but it's 3 months from now? You're trying to get me to pay 40%. You're trying to get me to pay 40% interest. I wasn't happy with that. So just keep that in mind. You got to watch out for these kind of things. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. Serious. People think it's so small. Even these paycheck loans, there's these apps. You get your paycheck like early or something, but like they take like $3 or something like that. So they take 3% of your money like every week. You know, it's not good. Like if you like look at the math and you like throw it into an exponential model, it's not good. Okay, 3.2% bi-monthly. So it's going to compound 24 times. So it's going to be 3.2% as a decimal. Bi-monthly is 24 times, right? I think. I don't actually know, but I think that's what that means. Let's check. Let's see if Gina Wilson agrees with us. Okay. Bi-monthly. Let's check it out. Oh, where is this one? Number 3? Oh, thank you. Yeah. So bi-monthly. Again, I'll try to avoid that language because that's confusing to me, because apparently bi-monthly means the same as semi-monthly, and biannual means the same as semi-annual. But I've definitely heard biannual mean once every 2 years, so I'm confused, right? And you probably are too. So we'll have to figure that out. I'm not going to try to catch you on the vocab. That's all. And if I do try to catch you on the vocab, we'll very clearly define it before we do that. Okay, she's going to turn 18, so she's going from 6 to 18. That is 12 years, so that's 12 times, sorry about this, 24. 24 times every year. I hate when that does that. Okay, no problem. 12 times 24. That's better. So that's basically what we got to punch in. So 500, 1 plus 0.32 over 24, 24 times 12. That should come out to 73388. Feel free to check me, but I think it's good. 73388 is the amount. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, we're doing great. We're doing well. Let's continue on to continuous or continuous interest. This grows, it compounds continuously. So we're going to use the E again. And honestly, a lot of things are kind of continuous. If you think about like the stock market, like through the day, people are just trading all the time, right? It's not like they wait till the end of the year and then the stock market goes up. Like it's always changing. There's so many data points. So continuous actually makes a lot of sense. Okay. So let's go to continuous. Here it is. And our formula for that is going to be the amount A is going to equal P E to the RT. So again, the amount, the ending amount is going to equal the principal times E to the RT. It's actually pretty straightforward, actually. Continuous is actually easier, I think, in this situation, because you don't really have to worry about the monthly or the quarterly. You just take the rate. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of love it, personally. So amount is going to be 800 times, actually, sorry, not again, you guys. Okay, 800 times, and as you notice, I almost messed it up. It's E to the rate times time. So all we need to do is figure out the rate times time. This is the rate. They said continuously. That's the key word. And we just need 20 years. So 20 times 0.06. That should really be it. So 800 times 20 times 0.06. And that's all you do. It's simpler, looks scary, very simple. And that ends up coming out to 265626. Whoops. Oh, man. I know what happened, guys. This morning, my smartboard wasn't working. So they uninstalled it and they reinstalled it. So now all my defaults, my preferences, reset. I changed the eraser size to always be the smallest. And I changed the thickness of this line to be on the thinner side, but never more, never more, never more. Okay, 2656. Let's grab the small eraser. 2656. 0.09 should be our answer. Okay. All right, hopefully that is good for you. I think I'll just wrap it with that. It gives you an idea Remember the continuous, you're looking for that word. They're not going to say how often it compounds, they're just going to say continuously. That's where you're going to use E, and you don't have to modify the rate at all. Unless they say something really weird, like that factor rate thing I was telling you about, those scammers. Okay, so you're just going to flip the page. If you're in my class, you're going to go to page, I think this year, 2026. We're going to be on page 15 and 16, and we're just going to do the evens. We'll see you in the next video. Make sure you smash that like button, tick the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the things we have to offer here. Check out MrBasseri.com for all your math needs. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.